Vielen Dank. Entschuldigung, ich spreche nur ein bisschen Deutsch und so English, okay? All right, excellent, excellent. My English is not that great either, but it is, my jokes work much better in English, so yeah. Well, some of the, only a little bit. Yeah, that's true. How many of you were at the SMX Munich conference? How many of you were there today watching the last seminar I was speaking on? Just two. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's going to be a little similar. There's going to be some overlap. No, a lot of overlap. So what I wanted to do today is, because so many of us here today at Microsoft are worried about SEO, right? Worried about search engine optimization features, and particularly worried about a lot of the link building and social signals that are making their way into search. I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about where the engines are going, Bing and Google, where they're going with signals, and where we're seeing a lot of value, potential value that can be added from marketers investing in tactics. So we're going to first talk about some results, talk about what the search engines are up to, and then talk about some very specific tips and tactics. Hopefully you can write stuff down that you can actually use when you go back to work tomorrow, helping your websites, your properties. I know some of you have blogs. How many of you have blogs here? Run personal blogs? Awesome. Awesome. All right, terrific. This will be useful for you guys. So, why don't we take a look through some search results together? Let's see what we see. All right. So here we go. Credit card processing. Well, Authorize.net's in there. Merchant Express is in there. Those are pretty legitimate companies. Like, you might want to rank those. The rest of these, I visited them. I know the links look blue. It doesn't look purple like I visited them. I visited them. You would be embarrassed if these were the top results that you had, right? Like, if you're someone who works on Google's engineering team, you're kind of like, oh, man, what am I doing? Here's currency trading reviews. Same story. And currency trading, like, right, this is huge money business. So there's a big incentive for a lot of these people to be spending a ton of money to try and get to the top of these results. And yet the people who are winning tend to be the people who, yeah, they're spending money, but they're spending it in some pretty nasty, dirty, ugly ways and places. Here's MBA program reviews. They have MBAs here in Germany. You can get your master's in business, right? If you are fresh out of college and you do this search, you're going to A, get yourself on a lot of spammy email lists, and B, you're going to be extremely disappointed in the results that you get. Like, if you click on any of these, with the exception of this one up at the top, the Business Week one, which is reasonable, it's okay, but it's not that great because it's just MBA, the top MBA programs, so maybe you'll figure those out. But these ones are all essentially, let me just take your email address and then sell that information to a bunch of brokers, mostly Phoenix Online, and use that data in not so great ways. This is my favorite one. You know why it's my favorite one? Can you tell? It's because Pet Supply Store, to be fair, Google is putting the one with only one hyphen above the one with two hyphens, and the one with two hyphens above the one with five hyphens. This is pet-dog-cat-supply-store.com. If you're working in Google search quality, you can't feel good about this, right? Like, this sucks. I have bad news. I have bad news. Business card templates. This is something that pretty much every business is going to need, especially small businesses. There are two good results here. Can you spot them? They say Microsoft on them, right? There's actually business card templates that you can download. They're not the best things in the world, but they are cheap, and they're like free for office users. You can download the business card templates. That's pretty good. The rest of these are awful. Templates-businesscards.com, templatesforcards.com, even the about.com, unfortunately, page is terrible, low-quality stuff. And there's none of the cool Web 2.0 like startups that do awesome business card templates, or all the designers. Like, where's what's Kelly Smith's startup that did awesome ones of these? You know what I'm talking about? I can't, yeah. There's a bunch of awesome ones that could be in these results. To be fair, Google is not much better either, but this is cheap posters. Very common consumer search, right? Like high search volume, lots of people looking for discount posters. All the girls want Justin Bieber on their wall, right? And they only get like $5 a week in allowance, so they need cheap posters. They're not going to find any good ones here. It's really, unfortunately, the only good result on this page that I found was Zazzle. You know what's weird? What's weird about this is you go through these results. You know how you know which results are good from Google, from Bing, doesn't matter? You've heard of them, right? Like, I've heard of Zazzle. I've heard of Microsoft. I've heard of HP. Who are the rest of these guys, right? Like $5 posters, not $5 posters, I'm sorry, postergods.com. That sounds like it could be a legitimate brand. I might check them out. But cheap-posters.com, I am 99% sure that is junk. I actually clicked on it. It is junk. But you can be fairly sure that this is junk and spam. Here's Compare Insurance, right? Now, granted, I should have been more specific with my search query because, so I know Bing has been working hard on the subdomain spam, but there's still a lot of really bad subdomain spam. So you can see insurance-compare.insuranceall.us, and insuranceall.us actually owns this page. That's their result, that's their result, that's their result, that's their result. It's all from like spammy subdomains that they have big link farms pointing to them all. Ugh. It's bad. I do like insurance.com is listed here. They're actually quite a good reseller. But they didn't really do a good job with their SEO. Because do you see how it says, we're sorry we couldn't find that page? What? So they basically, instead of 404ing, when they had a 404 error and Bing was crawling them, what they did is they served up a 200 that said page not found. So Bing's like, well, it's a 200. That must be the content. OK, we're sorry, page not found. This happened in Google to... So one of my last consulting clients ever, we got out of the consulting business a couple of years ago now, but one of my last consulting clients ever was Disney. And Disney was infuriated over a 4-day span because they had done exactly this problem. They had served a 200 error with Disney's homepage. So tons of people search in Disney World, Disney, Disney.com, Disney Channel every day. Like millions of people right around the world are searching for this. And the page basically said, please come back later, we're under maintenance. And Disney, they spend a lot of money with Google, right? They spend a ton of money with Google. And they call up, and they were talking to senior executives, right? It's like president of Disney talking to senior executives. Google wouldn't do anything. They were like, no, you have to wait for yourself to be recrawled. They didn't have to wait for themselves to be recrawled. They could have gone into Google Webmaster Tools and pinged, but nobody at the executive level at Google knows how to do that, right? What do they know about SEO? Nothing. Why are they calling those guys? If they called an SEO person, right, they would have been like, yeah, we can fix that for you. Is the page back up? Yeah, watch this. OK, you're good. Let me just tweet that. All right. So all of this stuff, right, it's not good. It's terrible. Like the search engines are filling up with this junk and this spam. And they're making two things happen that I hate both of them. I think we should all hate both of them. One of them that's happening is that consumers, searchers, are beginning to trust search engines less, right? Like you use it and you're sort of like, well, yeah, technically the results are better than 10 years ago, but they're not 10 years better than 10 years ago, right? The rest of the web has sort of gotten much, much better. And search engines are like, you don't have it quite figured out. And the second thing that I hate is marketers who look at the tactics used by these guys and go, well, that's how I do SEO, right? If I want to rank #1, if I want to cover the front page in my domain, this is how I do it. Let me just reverse these guys' backlinks, look at their on-page SEO, look at their citation counts, right? Figure out how they got there, and I'll just do that on my site. And so then you get good sites, like JCPenney and Overstock.com doing bad shit. Right? And they copy this, and then they think, well, that's what SEO is. It's infuriating. And the reason that it happens, in my view, is because the game, the SEO game right now is all about links. But I don't think it can be that way for a long time, right? It's about these These type of shoddy links. Have you ever searched for SEO-friendly directory? If you do a search for SEO-friendly directory, and here you go, SEO-friendly directories. Just do a search and then look through the 100 results that come up there. You're going to see a ton of people, big brands, small brands, medium-sized brands, who paid thousands and thousands of dollars to organizations like this, who can then afford to spend tons of money to rank in these results, to buy AdWords, to have big marketing teams that are essentially just farms of junk. Get exact match domain names, right? Like how does central-london-apartments.com, not only they rank, look at that, they've got site links in Google. Like, ugh, horrifying, right? Because they have all this exact match domain, because every time their brand gets mentioned, bing, 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 anchor text, anchor text, anchor text, links coming back to them perfectly. It doesn't matter whether they actually get good anchor text, as long as their URL's in there, they're set. Yeah, and then you sort of go through, I used Open Site Explorer here and just was looking at some of the links that point to some of those directories, and you're like, PR3plus.com. This is, if I were Larry, right, I'm about to take over Google, I'd be embarrassed that someone is, like, PageRank isn't named because it ranks pages, it's named because that's Larry's last name, right? That's how it got the name PageRank, and here it is, PR3plus, and like, this is what's polluting the internet. How about this one? This was an email that was sent to my wife, Geraldine, from James here. He's trying to get in touch regarding your site Everywhereist. Oh, cool. Someone likes Geraldine's site. Badass. Oh, all we want is one simple text link on your site that would not stand out and look like something that would look natural and subtle to a certain article. Please name your price for this kind of deal. Let me just ask you quite frankly, for those of you who have blogs, right? You get an email like this, and the rent money's coming due, and you're not making that much in your job. Like, you're going to take this deal. Even if you think it's scummy and bad, you're going to take this deal. You're going to let James pay you $50 a month, $100 a month, right? You're going to supplement your income because you can use that money, and he's going to get value out of it back to casinotoplists.com, right? This type of stuff is hard to detect. How is Bing or Google going to figure out, based on his subtle, natural text link, right, that it's not easy. It's possible, but it's not easy. This one's much easier. Still works, though. Works like a charm. Works ridiculously well for something that should have been discounted years ago. If you go and check a lot of the sites that are listed on Villa San Raffaello's, first off, you find one of these that's working, one of these that's indexed in Google or Bing, and then you check all the rest of them, and they'll all be getting value from it. Not all, but many of them will be getting value from it, and they'll all share the links across tons and tons of sites. I bet the guy who runs Villa San Raffaello has no idea what's going on with his website. And he has no intent to endorse these China Tours guys or this Canadian car insurance or my favorite, the Blass fireplace screens, which I'm sure is super relevant to his villa. What I loved about this one most, maybe I shouldn't, but so it's blog spam, right? It's just someone leaving blog spam comments. Hobo International Wallet. Like, that's one of the links. I was totally confused because A, I thought hobos use bindle sticks. I didn't realize they needed wallets. And B, I was unfamiliar with the Hobo International travel. I thought that they mostly had to stick to trains, which meant like single country travel. So that's, and you get, right? You get all the stuff that SEOs complain about frequently. You get the link farms, the domain buyers, right, who basically buy up a bunch of domains, do domain tasting, figure out if it gets any traffic or it's sending any link juice, and then own it if it does. This one is probably my least favorite because, well, it's my least favorite right now because it's super, super effective. Like it's not just effective in terms of spamming Google and Bing, it's effective in terms of selling marketers on the fact that there's some legitimacy to it. You can go, I went to a conference in Phoenix, Arizona, and there was a whole panel on article spinning. I'm like, no, that should not be a tactic. That shouldn't be a thing that works. Like, article spinning is, do you know what article spinning is? I'm sorry if I'm not explaining it well. Okay, so article spinning is basically like, you write, or you have usually someone from Southeast Asia or Eastern Europe write a bunch of crappy pieces of content, and inside the links of that content, they link back to your site. And then they go out across the web of tons and tons of websites who publish articles, right? They're like open article sources, and they put that content up there. And then the spinning is the worst part. So spinning is basically like, look, it's how to quickly and easily generate huge amounts of backlinks with simple push-button software. Right? Now, you have just gotten into the SEO field. You're a new marketer, and you're like, well, I know this is important. Well, boy, it sounds awesome. It's going to help my websites reach page 1 on Google, Yahoo, and MSN on complete autopilot. God, no wonder. No wonder it sells so well. And the problem is that, of course, because it spins out across tons of these sites, everyone that Google and Bing ban and find, 10 more, 20 more pop up. And because Bing is better about this, I'll definitely give them that. They're worse generally on finding the spam and on shutting it down, but they're much better on how they handle it, which is you're banned from the index. Like, you're out. We don't like you. It's clear we don't like you. You know we don't like you. We know you don't like you. Everyone else can see that we don't like you. Google is like, well, why don't we leave the PageRank in the toolbar for now, and we'll still show them on some search results, but we won't count the links from them, and so that spammers won't be able to tell which ones. The problem is when Google does that, when Google makes the priority, let's not give the spammers any information, it also means that marketers have no idea what works and doesn't. Right? So you go to a site and you're like, well, I don't know, this site looks like it's got a PageRank of 0. Yeah, it was launched in the last 6 months, and Google only updates the PageRank in the toolbar every 9 months or 10 months or 11 months. And then they go to the article spinning site, who Google has decided, oh no, we're going to leave the PageRank in to fool the spammers. And it fools the marketers, and they pay, I think this software is $249 for Article Marketing Robot. It's not, is it? Right? Like, people who do all this stuff, this is not what Google and Bing want to reward. This is not what any of us want to reward. This is not what any of us want to see in the search engines. I am sure that if they could, they'd get rid of this junk as fast as possible. Except, it's been going on for like a decade now. It's pissing me off. It really is. You can tell it's pissing me off. I get infuriated. But I think they're finally onto something. I think they're finally getting wise to this. Like the heat. Two things are helping. Number one, big thing that's helping is Bing, right? Because Bing is powerful, because they power Yahoo, because they have enough search market share, and because they're owned and controlled by Microsoft, which can threaten Google on a bunch of fronts, including legal fronts, right? Department of Justice, EU stuff, like those are good things because they mean that Google has to get better with their core product, right? And then there's also the big threat of, well, there's Facebook and there's social and there's different ways of finding content. We don't have to just go to Google or Bing. We can find the stuff we want in other ways, which means a huge transactional loss from the search infrastructure, which I still think is a beautiful, wonderful way of finding stuff. And there are signals that I think can take the search engines there, and I think they already are to a certain extent. So, first up, some social media citations and links, right? There's two things I love about social media, and Stefan, we can talk about this more in the Q&A, but Stefan was talking about this on his keynote. So first off, you may tweet something that you don't necessarily endorse. It's possible, you could do it, but you're not going to do much of it, right? You'll do it a few times. You might do it now and then, right? Stefan sends me a link. He's like, hey man, I wrote this great post. I'm like, it's an all right post, but I'll tweet it for you, no problem, right? But I'm not going to do much of that because if I do, all the people following me on Twitter, they're going to stop following me, right? I will lose, when I tweet out a link that is irrelevant or useless, or I just say something like, I just had lunch with my lovely wife down here in this part of Italy, like I can get away with one of those maybe a month, 2 of those a week. Otherwise, yeah, you tell me. Otherwise, right, like my followers start falling off. Facebook is the same way. Do I have the, I want to show that Facebook thing. Hang on, I'm going to pull it up just because it's awesome. So I presented this in my keynote, and I just want to show you guys because it's really cool. So, okay, it's correlation data. It's not causation, right? But look at, okay, look at that. This is so we pulled it out of the Topsy API. This is Google's rankings. What predicts higher and lower rankings in Google, right? And there's this. I was sure I put it in the slide deck, but that's okay. Look, what's the highest factor on there? This is Facebook shares. Facebook shares is the single highest correlated metric that we could find out of thousands that we looked at, right? Including linking group domains, including exact match anchor text, partial match anchor text, everything with Google rankings. Now, someone from Google will inevitably try and, obfuscate this type of data. But to be fair, I think it's genius. I think it's a great idea because I might like something on Facebook that I don't actually like that much, right? I might even accidentally like something. If you were at the conference, you heard these black hats who are like, we make the next button just a CSS overlay on top of the Facebook like button. So when you click next on the article, what you're actually clicking is like on Facebook. I love that. And then you basically have to click it twice because you click next and you're like, what happened? And what it did is triggered some JavaScript that makes the actual next button pops up. So you're like, oh, there you go. But you just liked it on Facebook. What you didn't do is share it on Facebook. Because if you share spammy, junky crap on Facebook, A, you're going to get a phone call from your friend like, dude, somebody hacked your Facebook account, right? And to be fair, you're also going to, there's no way you're gonna continue to share crappy stuff because your friends will fall off, right? And you do not want to lose, I can tell you, those girls who are putting up the Justin Bieber posters, who is their friend on Facebook matters more to them in life than food, sleep, water, air. Serious. You know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Justin Bieber he's made it over here. I'm so sorry. I really, from the bottom of my American heart, I am so sorry about Justin Bieber. That was completely. Yeah, well, no, I think, wasn't Hasselhoff is Canadian though, right? No. Is he American? Oh. Oh, I know. So my wife watched the video. Stefan and I did a Whiteboard Friday video, and she's like, "When do I get to meet him?" Like, well, we're going to go to Germany. You'll see him there, but he's bringing his wife. She's like, "Okay, you distract the wife." Thanks, honey. All right. So, social media, big signal that can take the search engines where they want to go. I'm also a big fan of mentions and no-followed links. Like no-followed links, right? They're not supposed to count. But I bet some of them do. Because it's a really good signal. A lot of them are very good signals. In particular, if you participate in the social web at all, you go to blogs, you go to forums, you go on LinkedIn, you create profiles on all these places, right? You get a bunch of no-followed links. But that's a good sign, right? Because that means you are an actual human being who's participating in all these properties, right? And a real company, and a real brand. If you look at mentions, I think those are big too. Brand mentions, right? A real brand will be talked about in real places all over the web. Discount-pet-cat-dog-supply-store.com doesn't have a whole lot of people talking about them in the real world, right? Just probably not going to happen. It's a challenging brand to wrap your head around. There's also all these user and usage data signals. So the Panda Farmer update, which Google did, what is it now, 2 months ago or so, was big around user and usage data, which has, yes, some privacy issues, probably particularly in the EU. In the United States, we all want to be famous, so we don't care who has our data. We want to give our data to everyone. But this doesn't seem to be the case in the rest of the world. If you see something like this, right? I search for the G2 Android unlock. I'm a surprising fan of Android recently. I think that they actually did something right with that. But they bought it, didn't they? So there you go. So Android forums, if I click this link, right, if 22%, lots of people click this link, go to this page, and then tons of them come right back within a few seconds and search for something else related to this, or click on other results, what does that tell us? Right? Like as a search engine, that tells us that page probably sucks, right? And that's a good signal. Google has always been extremely reticent to use that. I think Bing's been much more forthright, like, no, if users seem not to like it, we try not to rank that. And Google's like, well, we don't want to get into user data, and da-da. Now they're getting into user data. Like now they really are. There's all this brand and entity association stuff, so I talked about the brand signals, how important they are. What I loved about this, I wrote on SEOmoz a blog post about the next generation of ranking signals. Wrote it in January of this year, and this because I buy yellow Pumas, right? Like this is my shoe of choice, and so I searched for yellow Puma shoes, and it's like crap, junk, mess, including. You guys know this one, right? It says Puma's shoes. Pumas, plural, shoe shop. Yeah, you know what it actually... a pum-ass-ho shop. Yeah, they didn't really... They maybe didn't think about the branding on the domain name as much as they could have, which happens with a lot of sites. But anyway, within a month of this happening, if you go and do this search again, you will see a bunch of brands. You're going to see Puma, you're going to see shop.puma, you're going to see puma.com, you're going to see Amazon, you're going to see Zappos. They're all at the top, right? This brand stuff is big. I'm also bullish on the engines taking a lot of those link sources that we talked about early on and making far fewer of them count. Like, yeah, you have 1,000 linking root domains. I don't give a crap. Do you have any links from the 5,000 sites that we really like? That we really trust? That's a much, much better signal, right? The web is surprisingly tiny with a seed set. So SEOmoz, right? We run our own index of the web, powers Open Site Explorer, powers our tools and stuff, the Linkscape index. And our seed set, I just looked at it, it's like 120 sites. And from those 120 sites, within 4 link hops, you get to 50 billion web pages. Well, pretty good, right? Like the web, the good web, is very interconnected and very, very small. And this stuff, right? So Bing is doing these awesome social citations. Unfortunately, my network on Bing is quite small, and so I tried to take a screenshot of it, but it was hard to find results because I haven't connected up everything that I should. So this is from my wife, from Geraldine, because I also haven't connected up my Google account very much. Maybe I should, but I searched for Rome travel on her laptop while we were in Italy. By the way, having to lug 2 laptops through security all over Europe. Ooh. But I did get to do this search. So I searched for Rome travel. All the results suck. Like it's mostly TripAdvisor and like people who copy TripAdvisor, and they're terrible. But there's good stuff from the people that she follows on Twitter, Maren Hogan and Kate McCulley, who have shared stuff from, one of them's like actually her post, and then the other one's I think somebody else's. Yeah, this one's actually Kate, and then this one's something Maren shared. And what's awesome is that these are really good because the people she follows are her age group, like our age group, right? They're our demographic. They tend to have about the same sort of financial income that we've got. They're psychographically similar to us. And so these are fantastic. I would not be surprised at all to see that in 2 or 3 years, there's maybe 30, 40, 50% of the results that you see are annotated with things from your friends or from people that you follow. That's going to have a huge impact on how effective all that junk I talked about is. And it's the first time in a decade that I feel good about this stuff. There's all those ways that we can separate what makes a brand and what makes a generic site. Right? Like we can observe it as humans. If we go and we visit brand sites, like we'll know, well, a brand has real people, right? Like actual humans like us who work in some sort of office, as opposed to something a spammer generated. I was talking to one of the guys I was on a panel with, and he was talking about how they have a network of sites that essentially just, as soon as one of them gets banned, They repurpose the content 301 and all the links it controls to a new domain, and it ranks within a couple days. So the worst downtime they ever have is maybe 48 hours, that they lose their rankings in. None of those are real companies with authentic people actually working at them, right? They're just websites that some junkie spammer threw up. And there's ways that the engines can detect this. I know. What if I'm wrong? What if the engines don't go this direction? What if they just stagnate? Then all my recommendations are for naught. No, right? Like, then you'll do lots of good stuff anyway, right? Like all this stuff that I'm gonna recommend. I have a bunch of tips that I'm barely gonna be able to get through in 15 minutes. But I have a bunch of tips, right, that we can fly through. And this deck is on the laptop, so you guys can feel free to have it. But you can do a ton of good stuff that will help with all of the inbound marketing that you do, that will get you visitors and traffic regardless of whether it impacts SEO tomorrow or 6 months from now or a year from now. It will help. All right, so why don't we dive through these? There's quite a bit. I'm going to go pretty fast. So you have to earn authentic links and tweets to your content. But it's hard to do, right? Like, and tweets are super powerful. Like, seem to be, in some cases, sometimes super powerful. This is a test we ran on SEOmoz. There's a nonprofit website called See Your Impact in Seattle. They're awesome. I urge you to donate to them. They do super cool stuff. One of the topics they wanted to rank for is ending hunger in Sierra Leone. I think hunger Sierra Leone was one of their keywords that they're going after. And so we had them put up 2 pieces of identical content, nearly identical content, page A and page B. This one's ending hunger. This one's fighting hunger. This one has got 646 links from 36 linking root domains, and 2 people tweeted it. Those bastards, I will hunt them down. I told them not to tweet. And then page B, page B has only 1 link. The link comes from Topsy, because Topsy reproduces anything that gets tweeted more than 100 times. They make a little page for it. 522 tweets. And look, it's 6 months after we ran the test, and page B, the tweeted version, is the one that ranks. This is in Google, right? The tweeted version ranks. The linked version, this is quite a lot of links, doesn't rank. Doesn't rank. Crazy. Weird. Something maybe doesn't prove anything, but definitely suggests to us the power of tweets is big. If you want to earn those authentic social sharing activities, you have to be this. You can't just serve your customers well, right? Like if you're a shoe shop and you just have good prices on your shoes and reasonable service, that's not enough. Like you have to go way beyond. Look at the hoops that Tony Hsieh jumped through with Zappos. Like he turned what is essentially one of the most boring businesses in the world, selling shoes, into an empire that every technology startup in the world is jealous of, and Amazon bought for $1 billion, right? And it's because he had lots of cool stuff. Like they were a center, a resource. They made customer service a huge part of this. They produced cool content. They did lots and lots of speaking events and engagements, and Tony himself was out on the forefront of this, right? And then all this good stuff happens because of it. What's beautiful is when you had to earn links, right? When you had to go out and get people to link to you, you had to market every time. You had to go email somebody. You've got to go get that link. When it comes to social stuff, if you're this, the links roll in. The social shares roll in. And it used to be the case, back in the day, that you had to market to the linkerati, right? You had to market to the people who owned websites. If your audience didn't own any websites, then they couldn't link to you. So there's no way for you to get good citation signals. Now, with Facebook, with Twitter, with LinkedIn, with forums with social, the whole internet, everybody on it can link to you, can share your stuff. If you're thinking, oh, I'll just write a blog with 2 sentences every day, no. God. No offense to Matt Cutts, but I see him all the time get up at conferences and speak, and he's like, one of the best ways to do SEO is to write a blog. And he says write a good blog, but I'm sure some SEO consultant was like, oh, she should write a blog. And this New Orleans real estate company was like, okay, the real estate rates for Friday, March 11th are these. That's the whole post. If you click continue reading, it doesn't go, that's all you see. You need higher quality over higher quantity, right? If you read the AOL way, Business Insider published the slide deck of how AOL's content farm model works. Just do everything the opposite of what they say in here. You'll win. it's good. It's quite good. Video. I love the stat because, look, you know, YouTube gets like, what, 1 billion searches a day. They're like huge. They're supposedly, right, Google says they like have more searches than, I think than just Bing, not Bing and Yahoo, but bigger than Bing in the US. YouTube gets more searches than that. But in the online video world, they're only 26% of the market. Look at the long tail. I'm sorry, I didn't want to shake that. Normally I'm pointing at like a thing you can't damage, but I'm going to be careful. Right, so 52% share. Huge opportunity for video. Have you ever submitted a video XML sitemap? Let me show you. It's one of the most beautiful things in life. I know, my life is kind of sad. But I'll search for one that I'm sure will bring it up. Whiteboard Friday. Come on. Ah. Oh, let's not bring it up. It is the German version. So here, I'll show you. I'll show you what it.
Just click on the logo, and then on the homepage you get the link to .com.
Okay. So you see this video, how this pops up like above all the other results? I don't have to do any SEO work for that, because it's just the video results. Like it just pops in there because Google's like, oh, let's show a video. We'll show a video. But because it's not doing it here. But if I submitted when I submit video XML sitemaps, that link will say SEOmoz and go to my site. If we were in the US, that would be working beautifully right now. All right. Infographics, I'm a big fan of these. Not crappy infographics, good infographics. Lots of SEOs are like, oh, infographics, they're dead, they're abused, no one uses them anymore. Yeah, no one links to crappy infographics. This is one from Unbounce, the guy, Ole Gardner. So he used to be, I didn't even know this, but he used to be with one of the major like casino sites, and they never let him do anything creative. They were like, no, we have to do black hat, we have to buy links, blah, 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 blah. He left, and he's like, fuck that. I am going to be the world's best white hat marketer ever. And he is. Like, he kills it. He does inbound marketing like nobody's business. He basically ignores SEO, and it all just comes to him. And Unbounce, phenomenal company. So infographics totally work. Tools are great because they're a high barrier to entry for lots of people. So your competitors think, oh, I could never make a tool. I need to recruit developers and do wireframing and designing. It's going to suck. Yeah, you want those things that are high barriers to entry because that's what's going to make it totally useful. This is WalkScore, which is Seattle, right? And like thousands of links, into links, millions of links, right? Because people are like, ooh, WalkScore, that's pretty awesome. Oyster.com, they were basically like, oh, crap, you know, like TripAdvisor, they suck, it's terrible, like all these online reviews, Expedia reviews, Travelocity reviews, Orbitz reviews. And this is a former MSN search engineer, Eitan Seidman. He and his brother are like, God damn it, we can do this better, right? So they leave, they go to New York, and they start Oyster, which has all of this awesome research, like deep, in-depth research content. They send journalists, like actual photojournalists, to go stay in hotels and take pictures of everything, and then they compare them with these photo fake-outs, like, oh, this is what the hotel brochure shows. Huh, that's so weird, because when we were there, it didn't look like that. And because of this, they get PR for free. Everybody, if you go to their homepage, it's like every news station in the US has done a story on them because of the cool thing that they did, right? Because they went the extra mile with the high-quality research. I love this research piece because after the Fukushima disaster, right, there was a bunch of people who were like, oh, nuclear power, totally unsafe. We got to shut down nuclear power in all these countries. We can't open any more nuclear plants. In the US, Obama was like, okay, we're going to stop this nuclear thing. I get the fear. I'm as nervous about nuclear as the other guys. But this IBM researcher is like, well, let us observe the data. Deaths per terawatt hour by energy source. Do you see solar, how it's way higher than nuclear? Because people fall off roofs. They fall off roofs installing it. You're like, ah! That is way more dangerous than like a bunch of Fukushimas. It is. It's just right there in the numbers. I love the idea of using what's happening in the news as content on your site. right? I mean, this is, what does this actually have to do with IBM? You use their graphing software, which, to be fair, it kind of sucks compared to Excel. Like, it would have looked better in Excel, but you wrote about it when it was timely and went popular on Hacker News, and it got like 10,000 clicks from Twitter, and it got a few hundred retweets. I shared it, and I got like 45 new followers on Twitter because a bunch of people saw other people retweeting it. I love content like that. You do have to, these days, worry about usability and user experience. So one of my favorite things to do, CSS gallery. When you find CSS galleries, what you'll often find is look for the guy who just submitted his first submission, but it went hot on the CSS gallery like awards site. This means he's hungry, he doesn't have much money, but he's a really good designer. He needs his first project to get legitimacy. But clearly he knows how to design to get into all the awards galleries. Win. You really do have to be careful both with ad placement and with your text block formatting, particularly these days because search engines are caring, like Google and Bing are both caring about that user experience. So even if you're thinking like, I don't think we're too aggressive, watch your numbers, right? Watch your user experience and usage data, and I'll show you in the correlation data. Look at this. So, do you see, ignore some of these other ones, but do you see these two? These are the top most negatively correlated with rankings. AdSense slots on the page, the number that you have, and the total pixel size. I mean, to be fair to Google, that's really nice to see, right? It's nice to see that AdSense use is negatively correlated with ranking well. Because you might, if you were a conspiracy theorist, you might feel otherwise. All right. I talked about looking like a brand. You need these good about pages with real people and real contact details for those people, right? If I get to a form, when I click on Contact Us and it says, get in touch through the form below, and there's no email address anywhere, A, I'm going to have to look you up on LinkedIn, which takes a while, and B, you don't seem real to me. Like, how do I know that you're a thing, that you're a person, that there is someone who exists on the other end of this and it isn't just a scam to take my money? If you can't earn testimonials and news coverage, you don't deserve to be online. Like, you don't deserve to be a business. But, super cool tip, like kind of sneaky but awesome. This is like as black hat as I get. So, if you want awesome links, I encourage you to find people who you like a lot, find businesses and websites that you like a lot, and send them a little photo of you that looks very nice and professional, your title, your name, and a little bio, and say, hey, so-and-so, we really love your company over here at whatever your blog is, or I'm a big fan of da-da-da-da. I just want to let you know, if you would like to, you can feel free to use the testimonial below for me. And then when it says, Dave Rogers, CTO of Server Thrust, well, you get a link. What a beautiful link. That's my black hat tip for the day. It's like off-white. It's like the difference between that white on that graph paper and like that. It's eggshell. Do you have eggshell white? Aya? Yeah, okay, all right. You do, okay, obviously you have to worry about this, but now you have to worry about it for SEO too. And so I have some resources that you can run through if you want. One of my favorites, especially because I know how hard it is in big organizations in particular to like get engineering to do landing page testing and changes for you. So those unbounced guys I was talking about, you can host the page on their site and then go show your marketing manager, your boss, or your client, or whoever, like, hey, look, this one's performing 20% better. We should switch to this. Once you've already proved it by putting the page on unbounce, right, and sending some search traffic there, well, what do you know? Like, then suddenly the management is like, oh, yes, we should prioritize that. We will make X many more dollars every day. Brilliant. Seems super obvious, right? That you would have to satisfy the user, that when I search for pictures of robots, what do I want? Do I want whatever the hell that is? Or this person? Like, what? No. I want robot pictures. So, I would urge you to try this process out with some people that you know. Just grab like 10 people, do some role playing, and say, hey, Imagine you're searching for robot pictures, shoes, business card templates, whatever it is. Have them write down the list of things that they would want to see on a page, and then show them your page next to the list. I know you're going to be like, oh God, oh please no, don't look at the page. Show them the page, and then make the stuff that they said they would want, right? Like, you're going to get this average opinion. You can do this with 5 people, with 2 people. You can do it yourself and probably improve your pages. And all of that is now going to lead to higher rankings, which is awesome. If you're a real business, that means you exist somewhere on the planet. If you exist on the planet, you should register that place, right? Like, you should say, I don't care if you're a tiny little blogger, you should have like, well, I am, Geraldine Everywhereist. I am going to register like our home address, or I don't know, my work address or whatever, as like the place where you can send me mail and exist, and like that is who I am. And that shows the search engine is like, hey, that's probably a real business, which we should treat them like a real business as opposed to like a generic. This is one of my other sneaky. This is super white hat, but you can go into the listings, right, into the local listings at Google or Bing for the maps and see more about this place. And then you can just, like, every one of those, it's like reverse engineering all the links that matter for the local rankings. And then every one of these sites wishes that you were in their directory of local websites. Like, they all want your information desperately, and so it's very easy to get listings in all of those places. Love it. If I were starting new today, these are all the places that I would have a social presence. Like, I would go to every one of these, I would set up a social profile, and then I would try contributing at each of them, right? So I might say like, oh, well, let me try doing some videos, and I'm going to try answering some questions on Quora. I'm going to maybe link to some things on Reddit, like submit some things and leave some comments and build some friends and relationships there on all of these, and that will get me lots of good stuff. It just brings lots of good things, and it's a natural signal. Like, this is real stuff. This is hard. It's very hard to earn branded search traffic to a small website. You're a startup, you're a small blogger, you're like a microsite inside of Microsoft. Tough to earn that like branded search, like people actually searching for you, your name, your brand. Television ads are one way to go, kind of pricey, but I have another tactic. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if I clicked and it didn't go? It was like, hey, see? Instead of linking directly to the thing that I want you to click on, I link to the search result. So then lots of people are searching for my stuff, right? Like I say, oh, look, the SEOmoz ranking factors are now #1 for blah, 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 blah. And then I send people to that search, and then they click on that search, and they do that search, and then Google is like, wow, look at that, there's lots of people searching for that. And Bing's like, hey, look at all those hundreds of people who are searching for that thing that Rand just tweeted. Man, that must be an important thing. We should keep him at the top of the results. This is awesome, right? And this is especially important when you have like a QDF signal, like a freshness signal that says like, oh, this deserves to be at the top for a short period of time. And then you're like, yeah, but look at that click-through rate and that time on page. Like, there's a lot of people really liking that content up there on the top. We should keep it there. It's, I like that. If you don't, I'm probably going to cut it off here, and I'll leave the rest of the tips. But and Stefan and I will do some Q&A. But I do want to say that all the stuff that you do to diversify where your traffic comes from. So there's SEOmoz traffic, right? And like, yeah, we're heavy into SEO, right? Like it's called SEOmoz. Hopefully we do SEO. It would be important. I'm talking about SEO. Like, I'm the CEO. Hopefully we do SEO. But search only accounts for about 1/3 of our traffic, right? So somebody, something bad happens to our search traffic, we can still survive. And all the things that we do to pump up this are going to pump this up too. If you're getting 80 or 90% of your traffic from search, that is suspicious, man. Like, what are you doing that's only people searching for you and nobody is subscribing to any feeds? Nobody's clicking any social media links. There's 600 million people on Facebook. They never click on anything that leads them to your site. There's nobody who gets any email from you. There's no links out on the web that are like sending people to you. What's going on? That's weird. It's a big problem with a lot of those content farms. I think that it's a signal that the engines care about. I mean, like, why is Android free? Like, they're giving them away. right? Why is Chrome free? Why is Google Analytics free? Why is the Google toolbar free? Why do they put PageRank in there? Like, why do they give free Wi-Fi throughout the city of Mountain View? And in all these airports, SeaTac Airport, right? Do they let you? Are you not allowed to go on the free Wi-Fi from Google in the SeaTac Airport? Oh, you don't have to worry about it. I'm just saying, they're watching. Always watching. Yeah. But, right, I love it. So I can't remember who it was. Someone wrote a great article about how search is Google's castle. And they will build a moat with all of these things, right? So that they can have every signal that they possibly can. And finally, I actually see them using it a little bit. And I think it's because, to a certain extent, y'all are kind of forcing their hand. And that's, there's no y'all in German, no. So Microsoft, Bing, is forcing their hand. It's a good thing. All right. I know I have tons more, but what I want is for people to stop going out and getting links, stop emailing webmasters and paying them money and submitting to directories and doing article spinning and all this junk. Just stop. Start earning links. Doing shit on your site where people are like, man, that's cool. I want to share that. I want to like that. I want to link to that. I want to tweet that. I want to email my friends with it. I want to click it. All that time that we as SEOs spent invested in these, and I am guilty of this myself. Like my first 3 years in SEO, this is all that I did. And probably maybe even some shadier stuff. Not particularly shady, but I did do this, right? There was like a guy, he speaks on the conference circus a lot now. He lives in Leeds. I used to call him all the time and be like, dude, I need to rank for this. And he'd be like, no problem. 40,000 links coming up tomorrow. Right? And he'd just spam the web and then, yeah. And it worked. I know it worked. And it still works. This is the problem, is that it still works. And so as SEOs, we're tricked into believing that we can keep doing this, and we can't. We can't. We have to do this. We have to do all of these things, right? The Q&A sites and getting those type-in traffic and participating in forums and putting up videos and having blogs, right? And the news writing about us and having email campaigns and putting up research and white papers so that we can be featured in scholarly articles and cited by other research publications and running webinars and doing social networking and having document sharing like Scribd and SlideShare. You can find this presentation on SlideShare, I think. And all of that stuff. That stuff is trading the short-term benefit that you get from spamming, which is not SEO and shouldn't be called SEO, and getting long-term benefit out of it. Thanks very much. What do they call you? No.
Oh, the Hoff.
The Hoff, yeah.
The Hoff. Yeah, I'm not the Hoff.
Are they hassling you, man?
They are hassling me, which is why it has to stop immediately.
Awesome. So, yeah, if there's questions, we would love to take them on any topic. We can do searches. We can pull up the internet.
I've got one. So my question is, in a quarterly driven company like Microsoft is, how am I going to trade short-term for long-term?
So when I've seen it work, you can share when I've seen it work best is when essentially teams divide time between, we have these long-term goals that we have to achieve, right? And we have these short-term goals that we have to achieve, and we're going to devote some extra percentage of time, energy, and resources and people to other things. So I know managers at another Fortune 500, which may or may not start with a D, and basically they hire people whose job is not to work on any of the stuff that they're supposed to get done that quarter, that half-year period, just to do interesting, cool stuff. And that's where you get tons of that innovation. I mean, to be fair, like the startup model inside organizations has brought us Xbox?
The
Xbox, yeah,
Connect?
Outlook.
Yeah?
Yeah, all those things were all gone rogue.
But I'm with you, right? Like if you're in an organization like that and you sort of say to yourself, like, wow, I don't have the freedom to do this, you can move around in that organization, you can form your own organization, you can go join another organization, right? Like, but the nice thing is that the rest of the US economy, at least, and much of the worldwide economy, is in severe trouble. But Stefan and I were talking this morning, I'm like, boy, I don't know anyone in digital marketing who's suffering. Like, we're rocking, right? Like, the industry's just growing like crazy. But if you're going to get lost in that short-term stuff, you're going to be in the bubble when it pops instead of, outside of it.
I think the suggestion is to take Rand's deck and show your boss that. That's how you
Yes. Terrible weather. I know you have questions. I know that you're curious about something that happened with one of your websites, somebody that pulled something off. You want to know why. I want to know why this is.
I was doing some searches as we were talking. The one that Google did really poorly on, we actually did pretty well on, but then I did other ones we didn't.
So this, you can't tweet this.
Don't worry.
Okay. Or like it.
No,
It switched to German.
Yeah,
How do I get...
how do you
Click on the logo and then get.
We're trying to go to Australia. Does it work the same way? We're trying to go to Australia.
Australia.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, okay. No?
No,
Still
they
German.
are, yeah.
Picky. All right,
They
click
know
on the
what we want.
homepage
They
and
totally know
say...
what we want. So, there you go. You got it. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So check out, this is for website address.
It's a great query.
I know. How did those get there?
Sports Club.
I checked, there's no anchor text.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so you're getting caption match, right?
I did like that there was porn here. I was like, oh no, porn, but it's from the, it's from the newspaper, so it must be, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, it is. That's the Sydney Morning Herald.
It's Australia. It's where like the Brits outsourced all their nefarious behavior.
Porn all the time in Australia. It's great. Yeah, look at that.
Right?
Yeah, you have
Isn't it
caption match.
crazy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Page one.
Pretty nuts. I was thinking about maybe putting it on SEOmoz and just seeing like, anybody have any?
How does it rank for us? We can run our little magic tool.
I do want to. Do you have .com.au or is it?
Well, just try. Oh, you think it's only in Australia that's doing that? I guess EV Sports Club is only in Australia. Yeah, I know. Back to there you go, just Australian. There you go.
No. Wait a minute. How do I get English?
You want to upper right? See Australian. There you go, and then click on Australian here, left arrow. There we go.
Oh yeah. All right. Awesome.
Let's try it now. Especially we have a P1 probably. Really embarrass me. Okay. No, good. Okay. No.
See, you all look fine,
Yeah, I think it's
right? Like something's up in Google's.
Damn, I'm curious now.
I know. That's a good one.
Other questions?
Does anybody here have a blog that we could look at?
Oh, this is always fun. Yeah. Let's do some teardowns real time.
I know you're like, oh no, don't do it.
Come on. I know you've got
Have
a.
a look at my one.
Oh yeah.
It's locally type. So locally and then typ.com. But it's going to be embarrassing because I didn't
I know.
put anything.
Got the E.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh, I've totally been to your blog a bunch of times.
There you go.
Hey.
Oh, you guys did. Who is that?
Me with short hair.
You're like Samson.
I know. I
Takes away all your power.
know.
That's hilarious. All right. I like the fact that it's relatively simple. It has good content on it. I would say that you could likely spend not much money at all and get
Better design.
better design. Yeah. So one of the things I was talking to, do you guys know Avinash Kaushik? He's like the Google Analytics guy, and he's in Market Motive, and he's invested in some startups and stuff. So he runs this blog, kaushik.net. And a bunch of people are like, I don't trust anything from that site. Because I mean, like, there's no higher authority on analytics in the English language speaking world than this guy. Like, he's written all the books about it. He like donates all the money from all the books that he's not the only, but he's like by far the awesomest person I've met at Google. Like, he's just amazing. And yet, people don't trust it because they look at the site and they're like, yeah, that's junk. Like, I don't believe that it's a real. I did this in like 5 minutes, and I get on Hacker News with every post I write. This took no time. It's embarrassing how little time it took. It's not a beautiful site. Like, I hacked a small amount of a WordPress template. I did a couple changes. But like, it has that, I don't know like that authentic kind of feel, right? Like, it's like, oh, no, it must be a real.
Well,
Look at.
the only difference, frankly, is that you hacked a standard default template. His blog looks like a blogger.
It is the actual blogger template,
yes, exactly.
right? Which is.
Everyone assumes that because there's so many link spam guys who actually use that stuff to actually create fake blogs. And
Yeah.
And this looks like spent even 2 minutes doing it.
Yeah, right. It's like it's 2 minutes exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned the design, the layout of the website. Do you think it's important for the ranking?
Is the design and layout of the website important for
rankings? There
rankings?
was a Panda update or the farm update as Google, and the layout or the design of the website was mentioned many times. And
Yeah. So let me take a quick look. If I can
Tell
go.
you, since we're all friends here in the room, yeah, certainly not much the layout, but the actual what's the type of stuff on the page. So where the ad block isn't as important as how many ads there are relative to content, or if you have 4 ad blocks and one PDF content, for example. But we actually do this thing called page level classifiers, which looks at every single page. That looks at every single page and tries to figure out if it's a high quality or low quality page. And so their layout and amount of content and amount of things on the page do have an impact. But I don't know how much. Don't know how much. Depends on the page.
I was going to say I love this, right? So this is some data from Search Metrics or Systrix or whatever. These are like people who got crapped on in the Google Farmer Panda update.
Technical American term.
That's right. Yeah. And technical. That's right. At the web spam team, back in Seattle, back in.
That's what happened.
All right, you guys ready to take a crap on article base? So when you look at these sites, you will totally feel exactly what you're asking about, which is let's go to one. I'm pretty sure these guys have not yet fixed their site. They did get crushed. They're going to die in Germany too. They're finished. And I don't think they've been. Oh, God, look.
God. See what I'm talking about right here, though. That's a great example of that, right?
Cool.
So you've got
Jason Penny ad.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, look, you've literally got what an ad block with 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 ads plus one in line, plus another. Oh my God, another one. This is the classic one that lets you display your Google Display ad. Plus, oh my God, no wonder they got shit canned. Yeah, this is terrible. Yeah.
So and when you compare it to like I know we all hate on them.
No, yeah, it's true. They have good stuff sometimes.
They don't. I mean.
It's not all bad. It's not all bad.
Well, see how it kind of looks? Like, it doesn't look that different from if you were to go to.
Martha Stewart Living.
Yeah, or Slate.com, or. Here's 6 things every newbie investor should do. Now, they're aggressive with the ads, but there's only 2 of them. Like, there's all the content, including all the tips and warnings, with no break, and then the comments, and then more, the Facebook. It feels like a real blog, like a real site.
Yeah.
It may be junky, right? I mean, I'm sure it's. What's the how?
Oh yeah, I had to drink a glass of water. That's
This is
a real article on eHow in case you're curious. Yes, that's YouTube. Hold on. Oh, WikiHow.
WikiHow, Easy articles.
There it was. eHow right there. How do we,
But they have all the, where's the related? Oh, yeah. How to pour water into a glass cup.
That's the one I love. There it is. So this is where it falls apart right here. And then now look at the ads they have too. Check it out. They have 2 blocks on this one.
Do they? Well, they had 2 blocks on the last
Did
one.
they?
Yeah.
Oh.
One on the top, one on the
Must have
side.
3 though. They have them left.
Oh, they have the left-hand side.
Wow. Yeah.
But this is... The problem with eHow is not the advertising and the layout, which actually looks really similar to a lot of good sites. The problem with eHow is that you can't search for anything without them having an article that was written by someone who shouldn't be writing art. Like,
Look at the likes. 90 likes. Wow.
what?
Yeah, look at that.
That's
90
ironic.
likes. It is.
Those are ironic likes.
They are. Oh, I can't believe this. Yeah. Although, so what? I'm totally gonna like this to make my friends think I'm all sarcastic. This is great.
How do they get 90
Well,
likes?
I'm
Are they
sure-
spamming?
Probably. Yeah.
No. Who liked it? How do you find who liked it?
I don't think you can't yet. What's that? Bing. Try it on Bing. Try it on Bing. How to? Oh, it shouldn't. Yeah, it better not rank highly. Try it. How to make a glass of water? Dumblittleman.com. That's an appropriate. That's an
Right.
appropriate top link.
There you go.
Dumblittleman.com. Easy. No. Okay, we're okay there so far. Life Mojo. Oh wait. Oh, Yahoo Answers though. Gotta love Yahoo Answers.
They're a partner, man. Don't rag on
And
Yahoo.
it's been resolved too. Well, we can do this all day long. What questions do you guys actually? If not, then you feel free to just leave. You don't have to sit here and watch us make fun of websites, which we'll
Yeah.
do
We will.
all
We
day.
will.
I'll do this. I'll sit here and make fun of results all day. But is there anything else that you are dying to ask about the future of search from? Yes.
Apart from Facebook and Twitter, which other social platforms would you recommend?
Yeah, so...
Your slides.
Yeah, I have the slide there, but it really depends on what sector or niche you're in. Like because I'm in technology, I find Quora to be huge for us. Like it does a ton of good stuff. SlideShare, I think I get like 4 or 5% of my traffic from SlideShare right now because I make so many decks. Well, I'll show you in a sec. I'll show you the SlideShare one in just a sec because it's pretty cool. LinkedIn, I think if you're in the professional world, you have to be on here. This is how we do all our recruiting. Like not just us, but everyone in the US startup technology world, most of the business world does all their recruiting and they're investigating of people. You barely need a resume to apply to a place anymore. You just need a LinkedIn account. And so you can go and claim a company profile page on LinkedIn as well. And the same thing is true with Facebook. So the Facebook page, they just made it, 2 days ago? That now on your Facebook page, if you want, you can transform a personal Facebook profile into a company page. And so that means that like, if you run a blog, if you have a website, you could be a little affiliate, like whatever you've got, you can make a company page for it and have people like it, and then when you share content, they can see it on their wall, all that kind of stuff. Reddit, StumbleUpon, Stack Exchange, it really depends on the niche. So Stack Exchange has like a huge platform of Q&A sites, like Quora, but they're individual. So there'll be like a webmasters one. I think there's one for scientific data. There's one for math. There's one for programming. If one of them applies to the niche you're in, you should be on there, definitely. They're growing, I think they're growing faster than Quora is, or they were. I think in January, Quora overtook that growth, but Reddit's sort of the same story. So Reddit's fascinating right now because, I don't know if I can find that.
Like the social, like a Discuss account. Are you seeing, is there any value to that one?
Well, so with a Discuss account, like I encourage people to do a lot of blog commenting. Right? Like go around the web and let people know that you exist and who you are and that you're a real person and that you have thoughts and opinions and feelings and are smart and can write well. And when you do that on their blog, if you leave a comment that anybody likes, I don't mean like in terms of the Facebook thumbs up, they're they're taking away the word like from us.
I know. It's no longer ours, man.
All right, we're going to have to go with a synonym.
You know, actually, here's a true story. For April Fool's this year, I was traveling, so I didn't get it done in time. But we were going to say, because Google did the +1 button on like on March 30th, whatever it was. And so our April Fool's joke is actually going to be Bing releases the epic button, which is basically when like isn't enough, you go epic, and you
That's
make it
awesome.
But we just thought, no, it's going to be snarky, so I didn't do it. But it was an awesome post. The epic button.
Okay, so these are all the subreddits that exist. Reddit has one subreddit now sends 20, 25,000 visits if you get something at the top. So for example, if I were to go to Cannabis Cultural Education Center, that's such a...
If you were to go...
Okay, here we go. Our technology, that's a real one. And then there's sub-subreddits, so I could go to like software. Oops. That's funny. Okay, so you can see, right, it's kind of like political stuff and then technology stuff and this kind of thing. This guy, this right here is sending Wired tens of thousands of visits right now. Having an account there, like getting an authentic account, because you can't, you're never going to get anything at the front page until you have like 100 or 200 people who've given you an upvote. So I like Reddit a lot. They can send awesome, awesome traffic. They were quite good. And then I was going to show, what was the other one I was about to show? SlideShare, yeah. I wonder if I just rank for that. That's weird. Why isn't it doing Bing when I search?
Because that's a good question.
Right? Isn't Bing selected over here?
Wow, that is weird.
Someone at Internet Explorer needs to get on that.
This is IE8 too. Why was it IE8?
All right. So if I go to... So you can see like virtually every presentation I upload has several thousand views, meaning that like thousands of people have clicked on them. And what's great about it is, so I'll go and I'll give a talk, right? Like I'll talk in Munich. There'll be 200 or 300 people in the audience, which is, to be fair, that's like a small group to spend a ton of money and a ton of time to like prepare a presentation and fly all the way. Munich is not close to Seattle, unfortunately, which I'm sure all of you noticed since you have to have meetings with people who are in Redmond. But when I do that, then I can put it on SlideShare and I can tell the audience, you can download it here on SlideShare and here's the link. And then all of them tweet it and they email it and they Facebook it and they send it around and they link to it and they embed it. And that means that it gets thousands of views. And once it gets thousands of views, then it goes to the homepage, which is even more awesome because it sends tons more traffic. So you can see,
Did you make it to the homepage?
I was on the homepage yesterday. I'm still, yep, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's like hot on Facebook, right? So this is the presentations that are getting the most shares and likes on Facebook go in here. So SlideShare, man, what a huge win. If you have anything, any documents that you can share externally that you think anyone else would like, that you're presenting internally, that you're showing at a conference, that you're talking about at a seminar, whatever, what a win. Yeah, I like this a lot. Big fan of them.
What else? Anything else? Oh, yes. SEO.
Shall I go first?
Yeah?
Okay, so what is your opinion on automated injection of content into Twitter or Facebook? So would you recommend this via feed, or would you rather go create your target people headline via Facebook, target the right people via Twitter, vary the headlines? Do we need to do this, or do you think just create a feed, connect it, and push it out?
I'm almost always a fan of custom writing all of them. But that being said, sometimes the broadcast account does everything that you need. Like sometimes if you are TechCrunch or you're Hacker News, you can just broadcast. In fact, there's a guy, I love this. So Bob Rains, right, who's like, he's kind of black hat. Like he's a black hat, kind of manipulates, does a lot of spammy stuff, or used to anyway.
Now it's legit.
Yeah, now he's going legit. It's like all the rest of them. But one of the things that he was talking about is how he owns and controls a ton of Twitter profiles and Facebook profiles of like athletes, star athletes, horse racing, racing horses. And they're not the real ones, but they have more followers than the real ones do. Because people like don't know that it's just someone else owning and controlling them. And he like builds up the profile around it. But you can do this 100% legitimately. Like you can use that same tactic in a super white hat way. Let me show you Hacker News YC50. Am I not spelling it right? Hacker News Twitter. Come on, Bing.
This is HNN. Top? That's the real one, isn't it?
Is that the real one? And then there's a bunch of, so there's a bunch of like,
That might be the fake one, actually.
there's a bunch of copies that essentially some developer just produced. And
7,000 followers?
essentially, yeah, this has 7,000. If I could find it, the one that's like,
It has like 10x.
yeah, it has like 10x that. I follow it. Because what it does is it tweets anything that gets more than 50 votes on Hacker News. It's great. Like, I just know, oh, if something gets 50 votes on Hacker News, I should be reading it. And so it's just an aggregated feed. Like, the developer did nothing. They don't customize any text, and it works just fine. Now, that said, like, we don't do that at all. So if you follow the SEOmoz feed, we do really, really custom stuff. New blog post, retargeting, what is it, how does it use it? From Joanna Lord. That's pretty generic, but you'll see funny stuff like Happy Dance, early ranking factors data, and so there's the title, but like the little like Roger is adorable, and he's making making people happy with his tweets, and so because of that, it now has like more followers than I have, which is good. But.
Well, I will say just on your question though, as far as how we look at it as a ranking factor, if we see a lot of if the account is doing a lot of tweets at a high velocity and never gets retweeted or rarely gets picked up or points at things that no one else is pointing to, that will actually hurt the credibility score of that particular account.
And are you looking also at the tools that I use to publish these things via Twitter? Because there's tools like Tweet Later and all this stuff that more or less automate your Twitter activities.
Yeah.
It could be also a nice signal to check.
But there's a lot of people who use Tweet Later for completely legitimate
Reasons, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to spam everyone with 20 tweets in a row, but I do want to get these things out just over time.
Yeah. So you can.
So your answer was the first question, customize it.
Most of the time, customize it.
Because the other thing you mentioned with Bob, so there's also there was a ranking before, so he's taking content that also got some aggregation data that says, hey, 50 votes or whatever, and this data shows that it's somehow valuable.
Yeah.
That's why he's picking it up, and there's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If 50 people already said yes, then I have a high opportunity if I show it to 100 other people that maybe 80, 90 will like it.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of the things that I totally love. I mean, people talk all the time about, oh, how am I going to spam Twitter and get like 50,000 followers? I will show you right now how to get 50,000 followers. Legitimately, 100% legitimately. Do this. No, this is... Go read an aggregator like Pop URLs. Find good shit. Rewrite the tweets to be funny and interesting with a link to these pages. Tons of people will follow you. They will retweet you. Their followers will then follow you because you share good, interesting stuff. A couple of people that I know do almost exactly this, but they do it in specific verticals. So like in the legal field or the finance field. They just follow a few websites, subscribe to their top feeds, and then they just tweet out links to good stuff. And tons of people follow them because they're tweeting interesting links. You were talking about, what was the stat you were sharing this morning about like how good tweets have a high correlation?
Yeah, basically, if you look at all the tweets that we consider high quality, so we actually rank tweets on a 0 to 5 scale, and anything, of all tweets that had a 5 score, meaning they were the highest quality, 94% of them had links in them, which means that there's a high correlation between sharing content and it being a high quality tweet. Whereas things like, I just tweeted out, I'm sitting here watching Rand deliver a pitch. That's not really, I mean, it's cool, but it's not a high quality tweet. No one's going to care about that necessarily, going forward. So yeah, that's a good idea. I like that one. All right, anything else?
Yeah.
Are you then doing the same experiment you did with the tweets and the links with the shares?
I really would like to. I'm a little bit nervous about it because what I need to come up with is something that people will feel happy. Like, people are much happier to tweet something than they are to share it. So when you saw that correlations with Google, right? Like Twitter, powerful. Facebook shares, whoa, that looks crazy. Because Facebook sharing is an activity like we we don't want to spam our friends. So
You're committing at that point if you're sharing.
exactly. So we've got to find something. We do want to do it, though. We definitely want to do it. And if you know of somebody who's like, oh, this would be a really good thing to share, drop me a line. We'd love to put it up. Yeah. Because I mean, the other interesting thing, I don't know if I showed this, but Bing did not, despite you guys use some Twitter signals too, but we didn't see it pop into Bing at all.
Oh, as far as
The one
with
test, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah!
No, actually, look.
That's in there now.
It's third one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it right there.
I'll have to go look at Query Pro and see what happens. I'm curious. And hunger, now it's no. I don't know. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
still
Oh,
there.
no.
Oh, that's the other one, isn't it?
No, that's the one.
Oh, sure it is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so it does rank now.
That's right. I don't see why.
What? Wait, that's crazy, because... I don't know.
Oh, maybe I'll go look and...
Yeah. Tell them and not me. Yeah, that's right. You can't tell me why that happened.
I can't tell you why, but I can go look. I'm curious now.
Yeah. Was there one more in the back?
I think
No,
Frank was cutting it.
I think we
Oh, are we over time? Okay.
get pretty close.
Sorry. Well, cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks very much for having us. It's great.